Hello, hello, salut. I am the Rasta Witch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yansui Rasta, which is to say, my kind of Ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yansui witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so this is Jaw Part 3B. So I just did Jaw Part 3A this morning. Now it's Jaw Part 3B, the Lion King. Okay, so this is a real special one. It's a real fun one because it's the thing about Haile Selassie is it's the point of it all. Like, what's the point of all this? What is the point of all this? The point of all this is Haile Selassie. It's always been the point of everything, but not in the way that they say. So assuming that you've watched Jaw Part 1A and 1B about Melchizedek, Jaw Part 2 about Yahushua, which is Jesus, and Jaw Part 3, Part A, now you're on Jaw Part 3, Part B. So assuming you've listened to all that, hopefully you've just listened to the whole playlist of Bible discussions all the way till now and listened to them in order and everything, preferably. Because there are some extra little videos in there that don't actually belong to my channel that I've added in there. Not very many. Then I shouldn't have to explain too much more. So I have a whole playlist called Haile Selassie, a whole playlist about the Lion King. So on that playlist, I'm going to go into more detail about the opening of the seals and the story of his birth and just like more details about his life. Here in this video, I'm going to try to talk less about so much his life and more about how it fits into the theology and even the dogma of all this. So that's why all the data was in Part A, you know. So what's the point of it all? And that's this. So all the way through the Bible, there was this known end times that was going to come, called the last days or the end times, the great and dreadful day of the Lord, you know. And that is nowadays. So I already explained in a previous video about why it took this long. Videos on who is the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, and about the royal family of Britain. Those two videos, and around that part of the playlist, you've already heard about why it took this long regarding the birthright and all that. So what is the point of all this? It doesn't mean the end times as in like the world would be destroyed, a nuclear bomb would go off and we would all die type thing, you know. And it certainly isn't the rapture, and I've already gone over those things, but it's about that it's the end of the story of the Bible. So it's the end of the Bible. So it's because in this day of information and these days of modernity, we should know through scholarship and through these things, we know that there's not a man in the sky, you know, and that there's no such a thing as a book that's the word of that man in the sky. That's something that theologies have come up with as a power trip, you know, a power struggle to control us, you know. And so right now I'm still just kind of reviewing. I've gone over all these points. So It's the end time. So right now there's all these wars and rumors of wars. If you've ever listened to Bob Marley's song "War," the chorus is a quote from Jesus, and the verses are quotes from Haile Selassie, about how the whole point of it all, the whole victory of good versus evil, is world peace and world citizenship and international morality, you know, and the story of Haile Selassie. So Haile Selassie, was an Ethiopian emperor, was born at the end of the 1800s, and became emperor in 1930, and I've already gone over all that, and was emperor of Ethiopia, the last emperor of a 3,000-year-old dynasty, of the tribe of the royal family of Judah, so descendant, the same family as Jesus, but in Ethiopia, for a 3,000-year-old dynasty, and Haile Selassie was the last emperor of a 3,000-year-old dynasty. The dynasty began with Menelik, the son of Solomon, and the Queen of Sheba. When the Queen of Sheba visited Solomon, they had a baby, and that baby, Solomon gave Ethiopia to that baby, and he became the first emperor of Ethiopia, Menelik the first. And Haile Selassie was the last emperor of that 3,000-year-old dynasty. So he was deposed in 1974 and disappeared from history between 75 and 76. And I think the end of his story was a lot. It was like the story of the Lorax. Have you ever seen the story of the Lorax? And then the Lorax just kind of ascends up to heaven and leaves us with one word: unless we care a whole awful lot, unless we really apply the messages of the Lorax, the Onceler will, and this type of corruption will always destroy the earth, and things really won't get any better, So it's the same kind of thing. It says that this king would come and go like a thief in the night, and would be of the tribe of Judah, and would open the seven seals. So what Selassie would do is open and essentially open the seven seals and leave us with a message, and come and go like a thief in the night. But yet every tongue would confess, and everybody would know him as the Lion of Judah, which is exactly what Selassie did. So when Yahushua, Jesus, was hung on the cross, they said, "So you think you're a king?" They made fun of him and mocked him for saying that he was a king. They said, if you're the Messiah, how come you weren't given a golden crown, and how come you didn't establish a kingdom? And so the book of Revelations, of course, is based on Daniel, and there's many prophecies that was already known by Jesus's day as part of the Messiah, but he wouldn't accomplish everything. That's why I have Jopar 1, 2, and 3. There was 3 witnesses, and some of the things Melchizedek would do, some of the things Yahushua would do, and I already have videos on what I think those things are, and some of the things that the Lion of Judah would do. So they put a crown of thorns on Jesus's head, and said, "So you're supposed to have a crown." Well, and made fun of him. But of course, Selassie would come and the Jah incarnate in the character of his kingship and fulfill those particular prophecies. So here's an example of one, Psalm 87 in the Old Testament. His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God, Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know I, Behold, Philistia and Tyre, with Ethiopia, this man was born there. So Haile Selassie was born in Ethiopia. And the lion, and of Zion, I keep doing that. It shall be, Zion is where the Ark of the Covenant would be, and the Ark of the Covenant, of course, is in Ethiopia. And of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her. And in Haile Selassie was born in Ethiopia. And the highest himself shall establish her. Haile Selassie established Ethiopia. Haile Selassie, everything about the modernity in Ethiopia comes from Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie brought the first hospitals, universities, roads, trains, printing presses, hospitals, did I say planes, cars, highways, like everything you can think of that's modern. Haile Selassie brought all those things to Ethiopia in his king while he was king. So he established her. And the Lord shall count when he writeth up the people that this man was born there. Haile Selassie was born in Ethiopia, Selah. As well the singers and the players on instruments shall be there. That's, of course, reggae. All my springs are in thee. So it's a short psalm, and of course, we've heard Bob Marley read that before he performed in one of his performances. So he would come as the Lion of Judah. Of course, Haile Selassie was born in July 23rd, which is makes him a Leo. And Haile Selassie had lions that lived with him. He was very one with animals and loved animals very much. He was often seen out in the bush making friends with leopards and lions and having conversations with insects, and was really close with nature. And in the palace, while he was emperor, he had pet lions, like we have dogs and cats that lived with him in the palace. And there's many pictures of that. And he loved lions, and he was the Lion of Judah. And all the emperors of Ethiopia were known as the Lion of Judah, but only Haile Selassie identifies with the Lion of Judah of Revelations 5:5 of the book of Revelations, and he opened the seven seals. So I'll go over the opening of the seven seals in the Haile Selassie play. Of course, Bible historians and theologians, Bible experts these days, they see that the Apocalypse, the book of Revelations, and they see it as a genre, and like the book in Daniel and just any of these references. A third of the Bible is dedicated to the last days these days, so it's seen as a genre to them. Which I have no problem with. I mean, they know more about it than me, really. But the thing that they got wrong, they think that they say that Jesus believed that he was going to come again, that the apocalypse would happen again just within one lifetime after he died, And then so it was a failed prophet. So they say Jesus is a failed prophet. They believe that all the prophets have failed because these things haven't happened. But these things were sealed until the time of the end. It says that in Daniel. Daniel didn't understand it. It's in the book of Revelations. These things are sealed until the time of the end. That's the point of the seven seals. Until the Lion of Judah opens the seals, we can't place the chronology. We can't understand the book of Revelation. So there's been many people attempting to understand it and saying, the apocalypse is going to happen now and everything like that. But as it turned out, he came and went like a thief in the night, opened the seals, and the apocalypse already happened. But the millennium of peace hasn't begun. The red dragon will be bound for 1,000 years, and there would be peace for 1,000 years. And that hasn't started yet. In the 6th chapter of Revelations, the Lion of Judah opens the first 6 seals, but the 7th seal isn't until the beginning of the 8th chapter. So the age of Laodicea, there's different eras in the era of the church era of Philip. Each of the churches, like Sardis, the church of when the church is in Sardis, the reason it talks about that, Sardis is everything that happened before, like after Jesus and before Haile Selassie. So that's like the old church, and that's the the Bible, and Selassie ushered in his lifetime the church in Philadelphia, and it says in verse 12 of chapter 3 of the church of Philadelphia, "Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God." So Haile Selassie means power of the Trinity. So the Bible experts say the Trinity was just the Nicene Creed. The Bible doesn't teach the Trinity, but Haile Selassie ends the story by with implied reinterpretations of what the Trinity means. God the Father is not a man in the sky. God the Father is actually the mother, and because manifested form is feminine, but yet is masculine. The universe is masculine and feminine things, is the universe. So the creation story, Jah didn't really create the universe like these mythologies say. And these ideologies, they say that Jah created the universe, but Jah didn't really create the universe. The point is that our power to create things within is part of nature. It's part of our nature. Nature made us smart, and the words and the power of words in our head is God, and that God, which is within our heart, you could say, is God the Father, God, which is the mother, which is the universe, God the Son is the incarnate, Jah part 1, Jah part 2, Jah part 3 that I've gone over. That's God the Son. And then the Holy Ghost is the tetragram, is Yahweh, fire, water, air, and earth. It's the within, and the power of word, and the Sephiroth. And so that's the Trinity. So Haile Selassie, the power of Trinity, would come and end this nonsense of this believing God's a man in the sky and that the Bible's the Word of God. And that's the pillar that, now we have all the pillars of the building, and it can stand. And continues, "And the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem," of course, Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, means new flower, "which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name." Of course, it wouldn't be Jesus. Jah doesn't reincarnate. Jah just comes incarnate, So like unto Jesus, like it says. So then when he disappeared in 1975, it began the age of Laodicea. So we're in the age of Laodicea, and then that's after he opens the seals, that's the 7th chapter. So that's just all the chaos of all the earthquakes and all the things, and basically, it's talking about all these things that, earthquakes and things that have always happened, but yet we do have global warming, so it talks about mostly environmental problems, so we do have all the global warming and all these problems, these environmental problems, which are very real, and have mostly happened since then, since 1975. So the age of Laodicea, I don't need to go into detail about, is just about nowadays. Of course, Philadelphia means brotherly love, and that was the birth of Rastafari. And then Laodicea, the ancient city. These were real ancient cities. So these ancient cities are pointed out because they mean something. Laodicea was known as the great college, the great university of its time, and people would travel everywhere, and it was this perfect city. But the water, it says that not to be hot or cold. In the age of Laodicea, the whole point of right now is to not be, not to be lukewarm, not to be all watered down and lukewarm, but to be hot or cold. If you're as you're trying to create your own kind of ital, if that involves worshiping Satan, then do it. If that involves, to dare to stand to stand where you live, to stand in your place and dare to believe what you believe and believe what your life, his journey has taught you to believe, and dare to believe in it. Don't be lukewarm, because in Laodicea, the problem is it had water, and it was bad, warm water that would make you spit it out. As beautiful and awesome of a city as it was, and they had this eye salve that people would come and all these healing things and stuff, and it was, that's what it talks about there. So that's like nowadays, the Laodicea is the age of information. We know all this stuff. We have the internet. It's so incredible, but yet if it waters you down, it's just not, we're never going to get where we need to go, or world peace. So chapter 22, it talks about, in verse 2, it talks about cannabis. It would be for the healing of the nations. And then it says, the story ends. Of course, the book of Revelations wasn't really the last book. It ends the story of the Bible, but it wasn't the last book written. And it was compiled, but it was compiled for logical reasons. If you read the book, it would be the end of the story, because it's talking about, how this is all going to end nowadays. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according to his work shall be. So it talks about that. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. So it's the point of everything. Everything's built up to now, so that we don't need the crutch of the Bible and that. You study Herbert Armstrong, learn these things, learn about the life of Haile Selassie. Verse 14, blessed are they that, of course I'm in chapter 22, the last verse of Revelations. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have a right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates of the city. So the wedding guest, you gotta, if you're gonna make it in these last days, it's gonna get tough. There might be some kind of economic crash or something still, but things will eventually keep getting worse until we finally realize, war doesn't work, and we outgrow these things, and we finally take it serious. So everything points to Haile Selassie. So at the end of the playlist on Haile Selassie, I'll put the audio book. This is the autobiography of Haile Selassie, Volume 1, and the autobiography Volume 2 of Haile Selassie. I'll put the audio book at the end if you go to my playlist, Haile Selassie. Right now I haven't started working on that playlist, so it'll just be there. But as I start recording the videos, I'll put those in front of it, so that the playlist will end with the autobiography. Because you don't really, when you learn the Bible and you do your phase of Herbert Armstrong books and learning all these things and listen to the Bible historians, after a while you get the point and everything, and you can kind of move on and start focusing more on your witchcraft and the Kabbalah. And in this book, the My Life in Ethiopia's Progress. And this book is the best book I've ever read. And the life of Haile Selassie really is how to do it, Like studying his life teaches you all the things that teaches all of us all the things that we need to know how to have world peace and how to do these things. So I just if you I don't know if you can even get this book. It's kind of hard to get, but the audiobook, like I said, I'll put on there. and you can listen to it, and you'll see what I mean. Just really internalize it, just like we used to do the Bible. Replace the Bible with this. This is the new Bible of the Jan Sway Rostowich.